Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Dr. Hubert Minnis says the F&M infighting is over. The story coming up.
The leader of the official opposition weighs in on talks about an early election. That story straight ahead.
A man gunned down in front of his wife in Millennium Gardens Tuesday night.
The chairman of the Chamber of Commerce is telling us exactly where VAT money is going. That story is coming up straight ahead.
Remembering Arrington Bumpy Watkins. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, infighting that has plagued the Free National Movement over the past few years is over, according to party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis. In an interview with our news, Minnis says while things may have gotten nasty at times, there's no more war, and the party is now focused on one goal. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
We spoke with Dr. Minnis outside of Parliament today. He said after 4 years of infighting that spilled out into the public, the party has now moved on and is focused on 2017. It's been a turbulent 4 years in the F&M with numerous public spats and battles that played out in the media. But after numerous resignations and a leadership struggle that wouldn't seem to end, Minnis said that battle is over and the party is united.
The F&M has moved on. The F&M is now very focused. We are focused on rescuing the country from this Christie government.
The wounds in the party have only seemed to deepen year after year, and it all came to a head earlier this month when 7 of the party's MPs wrote the Governor General requesting that Butler Turner lead them in Parliament. Since then, her nomination as the party's candidate for Long Island has been rescinded. A new candidate has been named, and none of those 6 F&M MPs have received a nomination from the party. With all this, Prime Minister Perry Christie has said the opposition is in meltdown and that people should quickly register and not support an unstable party. But Minnis told our news Christie's definition of the F&M couldn't be more inaccurate, and people will see in 2017.
I think everything's looking good. The F&M, we would be concentrating on taking our message to the people, the community, the family islands, and our slogan is, "It's the people's time." And it's truly the people's time.
There is no telling when the general election will be called. So far, the F&M has ratified just over half of its slate of candidates. Minnis said in the coming weeks there will be more and that Bahamians can expect the party's detailed plan for the country.
What Christie and the PLP has done to the Bahamas is insulting. They have almost completely destroyed the Bahamas.
Minnis says when one considers government's overspending, the numerous downgrades, poor results in education, crime, and the lack of transparency, it would be silly to focus on anything else other than ridding the country of the PLP.
The Christie government must be removed. This country needs to be rescued, and we are prepared to do that. We, the F&M, will give the power back to the people. It's truly the people's time, and that message will resonate.
Reporting for our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, leader of the official opposition, Loretta Butler Turner, says if the Christie administration decides to hold an early election, it would not benefit the Bahamian people. Butler Turner says with voter registration still dismally low, it's clear the electorate feels there are no viable options to lead the country. Jasmine Brown reports.
While Butler Turner admits an early election would benefit the PLP, she says it wouldn't exactly be a smart move.
That's the problem. In the PLP's best interest is not in the Bahamian people's best interest. I don't care how much Mr. Christie and his merry band of cohorts wish to dance around the election issue.
There are currently fewer than 75,000 people registered to vote, and that represents only 40% of the eligible voters in the country. Prime Minister Perry Christie told a local daily over the weekend that a potential election date could hinge on voter registration in the coming weeks, implying that he could make a determination as early as February if they get the numbers right. But Butler Turner says the low voter registration numbers sends a clear message to both the PLP and the F&M.
I don't care if they call an early election or a late election. The Bahamian people clearly have had enough of them. What they're waiting for, actually, is a real alternative to this PLP.
Butler Turner is in the process of possibly being expelled from the party after she and 6 other F&M MPs wrote a letter to the Governor General expressing a vote of no confidence in F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis. Dr. Minnis, for his part, has said the F&M is ready for the next election, despite the public infighting. When asked if she felt their actions weakened the F&M's chances of winning the next general election, Butler Turner had this to say.
We'll have to see what cards are played as we move forward, but I can assure you that the 7 of us who exercised our constitutional rights to do what we did, along with the alliance of other opposition forces, you will certainly be able to use that as a barometer as to what people will do and whether they will actually come out in greater numbers.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Meanwhile, police need your help in solving the country's latest murder. Officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Clayton Fernandez, says a man and his wife were driving through Millennium Gardens shortly after 9 p.m. yesterday when a silver Nissan vehicle forced him to stop.
A lone male exited that vehicle armed with a handgun. At this time, the husband, who was the driver of the vehicle, he attempted to go around, and the individual fired shots at the vehicle, resulting in the husband being shot to the body. He lost control of his vehicle, and as you can see where he ran into a nearby yard and crashed into a fence.
Police are now looking for a motive for the shooting.
But we are appealing to members of the public and residents of this general area who would have seen or heard anything to please reach out to us with whatever information to assist in advancing this investigation. As I indicated earlier, that we are not certain of the motive, and we are doing some door-to-door in this area now to see whatever information that we could retrieve to assist in this investigation.
In other news, many have questioned why the country's credit rating continues to be downgraded if the country is collecting value-added tax. It all boils down to where the public funds are going. Giorgio Bain reports.
Finance saying that the revenue collected from VAT has helped the financial sector significantly. It was not enough to prevent the Bahamas from receiving a junk status credit rating last week. Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce is telling us exactly where that VAT money is going. Following the suffered credit ratings downgrade by leading credit ratings agency Standard & Poor's last week, Chairman of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation Gowan Bowe says the question of where the VAT money is will continue to echo from the public.
The revenues have been boasted, have been very clearly articulated as to what we've collected. They are false numbers because when we talk about nearing $1 billion in VAT, that's not incremental, because we took property tax, well, not property, stamp duty on real estate transactions and shifted it to VAT. So it's not new revenue.
According to Bowe, the billion-dollar figures being bragged about are a combination of old revenue and is really in the excess of only a few $1 million.
It's just that what was previously called real property tax is now called VAT. We've had customs rates that average 30 to 35%, that are probably averaging 15%, and a lot of them that have had duty completely removed. That has shifted from duty into VAT. So there are a lot of taxes that have shifted. What is the incremental revenue that has been collected? Ministry of Finance can give the exact numbers, but over the 18-month period is well in excess of 500 million. So the question is not where's the VAT money going. It's going into the public treasury. The question is, are we doing all that we can from a program expenditure control perspective to ensure that we keep our expenditure, I wouldn't call it at its bare minimum, but certainly at its lowest level possible.
Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Still to come on our news, RM Bailey Park trashed. But first, remembering retired police officer Arrington Bumpy Watkins, and our news gets ready to take a look back at some of the year's top stories. That's coming up when our news returns.